have as many hours as we had several years ago. At the end of last year, the commissioners did increase our funding a little bit, actually more than a little bit. So that has been really great. We get some state funding as well. And quite frankly, most of the rest of it we raise ourselves, fundraising, and then donations. That takes up a lot of my time, frankly, that I would probably prefer to spend during library things, but that's just the reality. When you're a nonprofit, we always have a fundraiser going on. We're always seeking, donations and partnerships, applying for grants as well. There's a lot of grants out there. If you know how to write a good grant, and that includes some work, but it's always for the entire time I've been here, it's a challenge to, make ends meet. But we're a lot more fortunate than some other places in Pennsylvania, that do not get county funding. Perry County, right above us, they do not get any county funding or much county funding. Their libraries are much smaller, much fewer hours as well. So.
Has there been any, is there any viability for a site like this being able to introduce a little bit more higher marginal revenue streams like a coffee shop? Like we see a lot of bookstores nowadays have some sort of coffee shop on site. Is that something that's viable for a location like this?
It would not. And that's a great question. I have seen larger libraries that are building, a lot of libraries have a little coffee shop or something trying to increase streams. For this library, we have nowhere to put a coffee shop. And then, of course, you always need staffing to do that. We don't even have a real kitchen at all. So, no, if we ever were able to expand, would that be a consideration? Perhaps. But I have seen other libraries do that. So, okay, yeah, coffee seems to be the big thing. So,
you could do a coffee truck outside.
We could.
Why not?
That's an interesting idea.
Two questions.
Sure.
Number one, you mentioned fundraisers, and thank you for pointing out that we got a lot of people, there's several people that are acting as nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you can give us a couple more insights on fundraisers and what works here in Mount Holly Springs for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll ask the harder question of, is there ever any coordination amongst different nonprofits to do fundraising? And that's maybe a little bit beyond.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
And then last thing I'm going to ask when we're done, if you could show us the next room over there, because there's some cool stuff over there.
There is some cool stuff in there.
You don't have to do a lengthy explanation. Just
sure.
Walk us over there.
So fundraisers that we have found that work for us, our biggest fundraiser of the year is our online auction, which is every fall. Last year we raised about $20,000 from that, which is a lot of money for a small library. We started doing them, about 20 years ago. And I think a lot of people have, not that we started that concept, but I've seen a lot of organizations, copy us. And then during COVID, it got pretty popular because you don't have to have a live event. A lot of places will have, what they call a gala or a fundraising dinner or something. It's an actual event that people have to come to. Something like that, we do it online. So you can sit in your jammies at 2 a.m. if you want and, bid on the things that we have in our auction. So that's been super successful. Interesting enough, maybe it makes sense. Book sales and it's not just our library, especially since COVID, book sales have really taken off. So we'll get a lot of donations here. And then sometimes when books that we have purchased over the years aren't checked out as much, we do what's called weeding them, and then we resell them to people. We make a decent amount of money in our book sales. We're actually having one next week as well. So a lot of libraries will do that. We do smaller things too. I think maybe when you came in, you saw a couple signs. We're having a Chipotle fundraiser night next week. We make $500 or $600 every time that we do it. So stuff like that really adds up. And then another thing that I guess I never would have thought would have been as lucrative for us is cookie sales. Most people, when you think of cookie sales, it's a table. Our friends of the library, we do one in a Christmas cookie sale. Last year we made about $5,000 in about 24 hours. So that's not chunk change either. So I think for nonprofits, you know, a lot of there's always something going on in terms of a fundraiser. We're always doing kind of the next thing and just trying to cobble everything together. So in terms of collaboration, you know, I would say since the libraries, we don't do fundraisers. I'm trying to think of a time when we did, like in collaboration with another group. I would certainly be open to it. You know, I sometimes have seen, you know, a couple groups will get together and try to do something to benefit both. But we typically don't do that here. So.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Yeah. Anything else, guys?
Well,
Yeah.
What's that? Like
What's
up there?
Oh,
Is there
yeah,
like
cool.
more books? There's just more books up there?
Yeah.
Stairway?
So those stairs, pretty cool, huh? Actually, if you try to get up, they're super narrow. I mean, I've almost tumbled down a couple times. So it used to be 130 years ago, they had books and people could go up there. We really try to discourage that. You know, you can see those big gaps. I'm always, you know, during my time here, a kid has never fallen through, but, you know, it comes close. So it's boring up there. There's just an air conditioning unit in there.
Study room.
Nothing exciting up there. So, but you know, these ladders are, I mean, these are the original ladders. They're over 130 years old. And I cannot believe they still work.
So you trust the ladders more than that?
There you go. I mean, that's not the safest thing either. It's certainly not ADA compliant either. But
Is this woven pattern, is that hand carved?
a lot of people think it is. It's actually wood that's soaked and cranked through a lathe to come, and then like the spirals are woven together. But it is really unusual. We have the best collection of this on the East Coast. It's called Moorish fretwork, which is probably more than you wanted to know, but it is pretty cool. If you look carefully, you can see, you know, they've broken off a few places after 130 years. It gets a little bit brittle, but this is a really, I'm completely biased here, you know, in terms of the library, but I think I know the town is really proud of this library. A lot of people bring guests here just to kind of look around. You know, like when you guys came in, I love the wow. We've been featured in a lot of regional magazines and some books as well, because it's pretty neat. You don't see this everywhere at all. So, I mean, it's definitely, it's inspiring, I think. I know, again, you know, I'm a librarian, I love books, but, you know, we're very heavily used, again, this is a small town. We certainly serve people outside of the town into the surrounding townships, but for a small library, we are a very busy library, which, you know, we're proud of. That's, you know, you want your facility to be used and busy and really important in people's lives. So,
All right. So can we see next door real quick?
absolutely.